Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before we get into it with our guests here today, well, first of all, everyone who's a longtime listener of the podcast should recognize our guests. We have Kristyn all the way back from Australia again, where it is Easter over there today, and it's still Saturday here. So again, just the time difference that always makes me laugh and makes me smile about just how crazy things are. That I'm talking to someone that's literally 15 hours ahead of me. But Kristyn, thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I gotta ask, like I ask every single time, what's the weather like today?
It's actually quite nice today, which is unusual for April. So normally it's been a little bit colder, but we've had some 27 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what that.
I gotta mention the Celsius thing because otherwise everyone here is gonna be like 23 degrees. What? How is that? How is that nice for you? Which it's almost around that Fahrenheit here where I am right now. So, you definitely have the better of it. But as we can see, you're 3 weeks out from a show, and you got another show after that. But what is this? What has this whole year been like for you since we last had you on?
Um, oh, when did you last have me on? Was it during COVID?
I think it. Well, I think it was actually like almost exactly a year from today, or close to it. I think it was April of last year too. Yeah.
So just really working on trying to grow some lagging features. Um, hoping that one day everything will open up and I'll be able to fly, come overseas and do all the things. And yeah, here we are.
What's one area that you think you've improved on the most?
Definitely my upper body.
Yeah.
So my shoulders and back.
Yep. I can definitely see that. Yeah. That's yeah. How did you do it? Was it just more training incorporations, or did you do different training techniques, or was it how'd you add on all that size?
I just really focused on upper body and capped my lower body. So didn't try to grow my lower body at all. Just focused solely on growing upper body. So that I would end up just a bigger version of what I was. So lots of back days, lots of laterals, lots of shoulders.
Yep. That is, that's really all there is. And nutrition wise, you change anything up to put on all that size?
Not really, just decrease my calories. So I stick to a very similar diet all year round. I just increase it when I need to grow, add more carbs, more fats, and then decrease it when I need to cut.
And what was it like now with what's this last year been like with the whole COVID situation? Because I did have a guest on from Australia even this last September, who and I think she was in Sydney, and like the restrictions were still so strict where like you couldn't. A lot of people had trouble going to gyms and stuff. Has stuff finally opened up now again, and like you can go to gyms and everything? Because I know Australia had some of the strictest restrictions in the entire world.
Well, I was in Melbourne, so we we're basically just locked up, just entirely locked up.
Still?
The restrictions were insane. Not
Okay.
now, but they were insane. I think we got out around about December. But yeah, the restrictions were absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I had my home gym.
Yeah, we got out probably like a year before you guys did for like lock. Yeah, I remember hearing stories about that and being like, how is that still a thing? But yeah, it wasn't. I could not deal with that. How did you deal with that yourself? Like you said, you had a home gym, luckily, but like still not being able to do that much of anything and doing all this while still maintaining this, this lifestyle. Doesn't seem like it's the easiest thing in the world.
It was very. It's probably one of the most mentally challenging things I've ever been through. Um, yeah, it definitely shook me. Um, but I felt like, you know, tomorrow all I'm going to have left with is what I do today. So if my bodybuilding career is over, it's not going to be by my own hands. So yeah, it was very very difficult.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. And was it easier or harder on your training when the gyms finally did open up? Because I mean, like, you probably were so used to training at home now that it must have seemed kind of different to finally go back to a regular gym. Was that a struggle at all, or was it just you were just like, okay, finally I can work out in gyms now?
I got a little bit of anxiety actually the first couple of times because I was like just used to being at home with my cats. But now I really enjoy it. Like, there's a really good culture happening again. People are coming out. Everyone's sort of recovering from the traumas because it was pretty. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty traumatic. Um, yeah, but it's good now, and touch wood, hopefully never happens again.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm not putting down any money on that because who knows. But what equipment do you even have at home that you were able to grow a back as well as it did over just doing gym workouts? Because I don't. I mean, it's just insane. So do you have like a whole system at home basically?
Yeah, I've got everything.
Oh, okay.
I've got a Smith machine, cable machine, all the back attachments, bars, T-bars, weight plates, everything, everything, hack squat, bench, leg press.
Yeah, well, hey, that'll do it for you because yeah, the moment that you said that you've been training indoors basically, or I mean at home since this last December, and you've put on as much as you have, I was like, okay, what is? So yeah, at least you do have like you said, you were one of the lucky ones where you had the full setup where you didn't have to, really worry about that. But did they have any shows at all in Australia last year, or was everything shut down? Is this the first year back that they're having shows?
Yeah, this is the first year that they're back having shows. They've actually got the national show next week, so the overall. Um, I'll be doing a little bit of guest posing there, which will be good.
So it's been a few years since you last competed. Have you changed things up posing wise, or what has that been like? Since you last competed.
I think I'm a lot better at posing because I posed every single day. Like I said, next week I'll be doing the guest posing at the nationals, so I'll be using it as a sort of warm up for doing my routine overseas. So hopefully I'll make the finals and get to show my hard earned routine.
Absolutely. And how is this prep compared to your other preps that you've had? Is it easier or has it been harder? Where does it fall on that?
um, Condition wise, it's been a lot easier. I think mental has been a bit harder. That's just I think from the situation that the world has been in, the sort of extra dynamics. Before prep was just it was fun, it was blah blah blah. Like even to go to America now, there's so many politics. Yeah, it's not as simple as it used to be. But condition wise, yeah, I kept pretty tight off season. So
Oh yeah, I've seen your posts on Instagram, and yeah, you've been like for the last couple of months, yeah. And I'm just like, I've commented on down below. I was like, how are you even doing this? Like, this is just insane. So, yeah, and I mean, one of these days, I might have to like send her like the first podcast that we did together, and this is our third one now. Just the changes that she's made since then has been like you might have changed more than any guest that I've had on from like the first show, the
really,
first time I've had you on to the last. It's insane, Kristen. I'll have to send it to you then. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The first time I had you on, you probably put on like 20 pounds of muscle since the first time I had you on. So it's been it's been absolutely It's yeah. I remember the last time I had you on, like I couldn't even talk for like the first 5 minutes because I didn't even think I was speaking to like I didn't even think I was speaking to the same person because I was like, you sure this is Kristen on the podcast? Like what's going on here? So yeah, it's been
thank
insane.
you, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, when it comes to just like no one really talks about the mental health effects of this pandemic that really happened, and I think no place did it affect it more than Australia when it came to the restrictions. Mentally, I mean, like we talked about, this sport is so much more mental than it is physical, and like the mental side of, I mean, it even impacted me in a negative way, this whole pandemic with all the lockdowns and everything. Like I still to this day sometimes still have lasting effects of it. How did it impact you, just this whole mental side of the pandemic, going along with being in such a mentally important sport as bodybuilding?
Um, I think I just became sort of wound up um, into more sort of like being a workaholic. Like I was training from home, and then I'd finish training, and then I'd do more work, and it was just like a big spiral. It was very stressful. Yeah, very stressful.
How did you deal with it? Did you have like wine nights, or did you did you watch a lot of movies or stuff like that? How did you
I
cope with
wish
it?
I had one nights. I actually got to a point where I was unable to watch TV. I was that wound up. I think it's just now that restrictions are over and just a lot of, um, now that we can do more normal things and see people, it's just made a huge difference.
What's your cardio been like this year? Is it easier now that you can like go outside and do stuff now, or is it still, just indoors doing a lot of stuff?
I've just started one session of cardio a week.
Just one. That's ridiculous. Oh my god. Yeah. That is absolutely insane. So, I mean, first of all, what are you doing for shoulders? Because we can just see them just popping out here and it's just insane. So, what do you even do for them? Because that's just ridiculous. Yeah, that's insane.
I do a lot of high and cable raises, a lot of wide grip upright rows. So really try to target that medial delt. Um, yeah, a lot of supersets. Just basically try to put them in as much pain as possible.
That's a good method. Yeah, and I mean they're insane. Like they're just taking up the whole entire screen basically. So I had to ask. But I mean, you mentioned back, and that's the one thing that also really took off for me too. What is your favorite back exercise to do?
um, I really like T-bar rows. I really like T-bar rows. They just make me feel strong.
Yeah, for me, it's anything with rows, just because even in middle school they had one of those rowing machines, and I would just do that just constantly, just because I liked it, and I was, it felt like it feels like you're rowing something, and I was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah,
so that's the one for me. And then I also, I'm just
yeah.
a simple lat pull down kind of guy, where it's just, it's just that, yeah. But yeah, those are really my two. But yeah, the back, yeah, that is by far my favorite thing when it comes to it. But like, since you haven't been in a competition for so long, do you feel that you're more nervous for these competitions than you might have been for other ones, knowing that it's been like such a long period since you've last competed?
Not really, because I'd like to see how I stack up against an international lineup. So I've never jumped overseas before. Um, when I went pro, it was sort of when COVID came and we were unable to travel. So I'd like to really do a couple of shows and see how I stack up. Because some of the girls are pretty epic over there.
Oh yeah, yeah, they are pretty. What's some of the feedback that you've been getting from just like coaches or trainers and stuff like that? Is it seem like it's been getting good feedback? I mean, well, obviously they should just
Yeah,
look at you, but yeah.
they said that I've developed in the correct areas, which would be my back and my shoulders, because I was lower bottom heavy. So
Is that struggling for you to keep the lower body where it's at? Because some people that I know, like just genetically, like if that's, and I know that's the one thing that really sort of took off for you when you got started. Is it hard for you to sort of keep them where they're at, or is it just at this point, since you've been training for so long, you can just kind of do it on command almost?
I just don't increase the weight. I train quads once every 8 days. I train hamstrings once every 8 days, and I track all my workouts, so I cap the weight. I don't push it. So everything else I push, but my legs, I have to just, no matter how strong I feel, just hold it there.
Yep, that you can't really deal with that temptation to really go full out. But when it comes to lifting too, do you do max lifts a lot now, or do you still do like the? Oh, I know some bodybuilders mix it up where sometimes they go like all out, and then other times they just do it just for reps. But where do you fall on that? Do you just mix that up?
I just do like few sort of 8 to 12 reps, and then I might do like a burner on back or shoulders if I'm feeling really strong, which would be like just thrashing the hell out of my body till I can't move.
What is your go-to recovery meal or anything to have? Is it just the chicken, or what do you go for? Because when it comes to recovery, I know a lot of people sometimes like different foods to sort of mix things up a little bit.
No, it's just the chicken and rice. I'm boring.
Yep,
It works for me.
yep, yep,
It works, so
yeah, yeah.
I do it.
Well, we can tell it works. And what is sleeping easier this year than last year, or is it still sort of the same?
Now sleep's a lot easier now. I always find coming into a prep that I sleep a lot more.
That's one thing I never got about you, because I watched our last two podcasts, and that you do sleep more than other people. Where most bodybuilders have trouble even falling asleep, and you're the one who's just like sleeping even more during a prep. So
Is it enough time yet? It's only 10 o'clock. I
yep, yeah, it's
feel like it's my right
yeah,
to
it's
sleep.
it's a good problem to have. I will say that when it comes to being a bodybuilder, being able to sleep so much. But I mean, as people can get out now more and interact more with people, do you find that the reactions to like I've said a million times, like bodybuilders are not the average looking people. When you like if you're dressed the way you are right now, walking out in public, you are going to get stares. But like, has it been different since the pandemic ended? Are the reactions different or still the same?
No, they're probably worse. People are like, "What is this thing?" Walking past. But like I said, I think I've told you before. I try to cover up unless I'm in the gym.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people would probably just be jealous because they're like, wait, she got in that shape during the pandemic when everyone else was just eating stuff and just staying at home and
A little
doing.
bit different in Australia. There's not that many female bodybuilders walking around.
Well, not even here. I mean, even in my home state of Minnesota, I think there's like one or two maybe out of 5 million people. So yeah, it's definitely not something that people are used to seeing. So the reactions are going to be, unique as well. But you mentioned that you're coming overseas. Where are you planning on going? Are you coming to the States, or where are you going?
So May 1st, I'm coming to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay.
I'm going to compete in the Pittsburgh Pro on May 6th, and then I'm going to be competing in the New York Pro on May 21st.
Will it be your first time to the States, or have you been here before?
It'll be my first time.
All right. Well, I got to warn you about Pittsburgh. It's weird because it's a city that's like there's hills all surrounding it, so it's like almost like a crater kind of. It's weird. I've been there before. I've been there twice, and then New York. I've been there like 5 or 6 times. When I was a kid, the last time I've been there was like probably like 15 years ago. But it's a great city to be in. But good luck with with Pittsburgh. They got so much good food there. I mean, good luck with even whatever you're going to have afterwards. You're going to have a wide variety of stuff to have, and who exactly knows. But how are you trying to, because like I don't talk to many Australians that come to the States to compete. When it comes down to those last few days of prep, your rest is so important, but like you're almost traveling a full day back when it comes to the time difference. Like that's going to be a pretty big struggle. So how do you have any plans on how to deal with that? Because that's just a huge, like most people talk about the jet lag from my parents just flew to California, and that's only a 2 hour difference, and there's like, oh, it's a little groggy at first, but you have to deal with it like a 16-hour time difference when you're coming to Pittsburgh.
Well, I'm going to do a six, I'm coming 6 days before the show. So hopefully I'll adjust a little bit. Hopefully.
Was it hard getting tickets to come to the States? Because I know that like even though the travel restrictions have lax, I know it's still hard for some people to get tickets to come here.
No.
And I mean, obviously you don't have like, I mean, we're not gonna like put like expectations on you or something like that, but like in an ideal world, what would you like to get out of these shows? Would you like to finish top three? Would you like to win? Where would you like to be at? I mean, obviously, like if you don't say I don't want to win, then I'm like, okay, then why are you even showing up in the first place? But like, where would you like to
Of
be
course I
at
want to
after these
win.
shows? Yeah. Yeah,
Of course I want
absolutely.
to win. But I just want to sort of see where I sit, I suppose. Um, yeah. But yeah, of course I want to win. But, top 5 would be amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, just with, all this ever changing nature of the sport, and just like last year, and again, there's like another bodybuilder that died. He was a male bodybuilder that died a few days ago. And I mean, it just seems like it's getting more extreme for a lot of people. What has been your reaction like as an outsider? Because like you haven't competed in the last few years, seeing like, because like this last year, even in the States alone, like there's so many people that, either died or just overdid things. What has been your reaction like just seeing that, and just, I mean, obviously bodybuilders are aware of, the risks that entail in the sport, and the general public isn't that aware, but I think they've been more aware this last year when they just see some of the deaths that happen. But what has been your reaction like to this last year, where it seems like so much has been happening?
I think everyone has a choice with the sort of protocols that they're willing to follow. I'm not concerned for myself. Obviously, everyone has a duty of care to look into what they're taking. Um, and some people might make stupid decisions, but at the end of the day, it is their decision. I'm not sure what percentage of it's related to the vaccine. If anything, I don't really look into that. But yeah, so I don't really, I don't know, I think,
There have been some people that have been talking about the vaccine too, and that was one thing that I was shocked about too. I was like, oh, and I looked into it, and yeah, some of them. I mean, I haven't done the research, so I'm not going to make any claims on here or anything like that. But like, I've heard that could be a possible factor. So we'll have to,
yeah.
we'll have to see with everything that entails. But I mean, just, yeah, it's just amazing this last year what everyone's been through. I mean, especially in Australia, where I couldn't even imagine. And it's like in Australia they barely had any deaths from COVID at all, so it's like that's one situation when I looked at it, and like if I lived in
We're
Australia,
all locked up.
I
We're
mean,
locked up with cat.
yeah. How did your cats enjoy having you around more, or did they get sick of you?
My cats definitely enjoyed having me around more.
I mean, well, at least you have cats, so then like you don't have to like take them on like super long walks or anything like that, like with dogs and stuff like that. So there isn't really that really aspect of that. But I mean, yeah, just what's been going on. And I mean, one of the questions I've been asking guests now that I find is so, like, I'm surprised that it took me as long as it did to finally start asking, is like, when people, I mean, and obviously people are going to have this opinion, like I have this opinion sometimes talking to some of my guests, is like, why do they do this to themselves? Like, why do they torture themselves like this to like go on a stage? What is their end goal? So like, when I bet you've been asked this, before, but it's like, why do you put yourself through all this stuff to step on that stage? Because I mean, it's like, I understand it, like talking to so many bodybuilders I've had on, but still there are some cases where I look at it and I was like, why are you doing this to like, why are you putting yourself through this to walk on that stage? But what is your answer for that when people come up to you and just ask like, why do you do this?
um, I got through. I did everything that I need to do to get through COVID, so I deserve to give this to myself. This show. That's why. I did not come through COVID to just go, okay, I'm retired. I'm going overseas, doing all the things. It's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's a great response to have. So many people that, just aren't familiar with the sport, don't understand, how much of a mental benefit the sport can be, as much as a mental crux as it can be as well. And I mean, just with the ever evolving and ever changing sport of bodybuilding, like I just asked you about previously, but like they changed the criteria so much. And what have been some of the changes that you've seen as an outsider in the sport since you've last competed? Because almost every year this sport evolves into, they might want a little bit more of a shredded look, they might want a little bit more of a leaner look. Where do you think it's gone since you've last competed when it comes to what the judges are sort of looking for?
It looks like my criteria women's physique is really, they're really coming into more of a conditioned look rather than a mass look, which is good for me because I'm not massive and I'm conditioned. um, so I think that sort of drawing the distinction between women's physique and women's bodybuilders become a lot more apparent over the last couple of years.
And when it comes to condition, how early into your preps before you start to see, the overall shape? Because like I said, I've seen some of your Instagram posts, and like you seem to get shredded really early on. Has that always been a thing for you?
I started this prep at 70 kilos and I'm now 65.5. So I don't put on large amounts of weight in my off season. Um, so you can sort of see what's going on. But I don't know, I reckon I could be 20, 30% body fat and still have lines in my butt.
That is a good problem to have because yeah, like I'm one of those people where I could get down to 5% body fat and you won't even see veins on me. It's never gonna happen. So I'm just unluckily not one of those blessed people. But yeah, it's just I mean,
I'm just a vascular person.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, you chose the right sport then. I mean, with bodybuilding and everything like that. Do you have a little bit of a cold?
Yeah, a little bit.
See, that's the only problem that like as you get that lean, people don't realize that like you can get it's much easier to get like sick and stuff like that. And so like on days today when you're feeling like obviously like you're still functioning and everything like that, like how do you push through like when you're dealing with either like the illness or just like days that you're tired? How do you push through on days especially like today? Because like for me if I felt like you did, like I don't even know if I would even leave the house then.
Oh, it's probably just hay fever. We've had some nice weather. I don't feel bad at all.
Oh, okay. These last few days of like the prep and everything like that, do you change things up drastically or is it just like a slow like when you start a prep, do you do like slow gradual steps towards a change or is it just like some of the guests that I've had on where they start off kind of slow and then towards the end they really crank things up?
Nah, we're just gonna cruise in this week, see how I look for my guest posing, and then use that. I don't normally change anything drastically ever. Um, if if I'm looking good, then why would I?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it's tough to argue with. And I mean, Australian bodybuilding, they haven't have they gotten any pro shows yet? Because the last guest that I talked to, I think they said that they were thinking about maybe giving some pro shows down there.
Yeah, they've got some pro shows for bikini and men's physique.
Oh yeah, they didn't have him for figure. The guest they had him was a figure competitor, I think, and then they didn't have one for figure and up. I don't think so. That's I don't get why they don't. But I mean, because like even Sweden's having one this weekend, and Sweden has like two or three body. I mean, again, that's just a question that I don't. I honestly do not know myself, but yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous, and I mean this. Yeah, I can't imagine, going what you went through this last year and still, having a positive outlook on things. So, more power to you. I mean, I, I do not understand that myself. I mean, that's just absolutely, and to put on
I get to
size
go to
too.
America. I get to go to New York and spend 3 weeks in New York, living my best life.
It's true. What do you plan on doing when you get to New York? Anything special?
Shopping, shopping, more shopping.
Everything is expensive as hell there, though. I got to warn you. Like, it's very,
It's
very
alright.
expensive.
It's
Oh my
alright.
I went to I went to a play there, and this was like 2006 or something like that. And bottled water there was like $9 for one bottle of water. So it was just, oh my god, it's so expensive there. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you got the money, no problem. Yeah, go ahead and go crazy. But yeah, that's what I would do if I went back
I
to New
lived
York.
in Melbourne for a year. I can go to New York.
That's true. That's true. I mean, more power. Yeah. More power to you. And that's, how you're, yeah, how you got through all that stuff in Melbourne is just, absolutely, again, I do not understand it myself, but it is great. And it's great to, see all the, changes that you've made. But I've asked you this question every single time you've been on, but I mean, when we do have you on another year from now, where would you like to be at just in your overall journey? Where would you like to be at just in your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved?
I would have wanted to have qualified for the Olympia.
I honestly think you can do it. I mean, I think, yeah, with the size that you put on and everything like that, it's just, yeah, it's just, I think
See,
you have a good shot. Yeah. But,
have to have goals.
well, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't have goals, then what are you even doing the sport for? If you're just one of those people that's just like, yeah, I just want to work out, and see what happens, And I have had some of those guests on, and they're a lot of fun to talk to because it's like, okay, that's interesting, like your whole view on things. But yeah, yeah, you got to have those goals, and you got to pursue them, as well. And it's just, Yeah, it is just incredible, even that I'm talking to you right now. And do you have any what are your plans for the rest of the day? I mean, it is Easter in Australia right now as I'm talking, it's Saturday here still.
I've got a friend coming over. I've got to do some training. Um, she's going to meet my cats because she's house sitting for me when I'm overseas. That's pretty much it.
I mean, I got a whole family lunch to go to tomorrow with like eggs and stuff like that, but I mean, hey, that's nothing really that too unusual for bodybuilders. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's and did you get to see your family as much during COVID? Because I know that some people that were like really locked up in Australia, like you couldn't even move. So yeah, so do you literally spent years without seeing them?
No, we couldn't go outside a few kilometers.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, the governments should be happy that they took away all of Australians' guns like they did like 30 years ago. Because I can tell you, there probably would have been a civil war if that would have happened. If that would have happened over here, but that's just, I mean, again, I will redirect people because I had Rose Black was the guest from Australia. I had her on for like the third time as well, and like she was talking about the lockdowns and restrictions that they had, and like I could not believe that was still happening, and that's just I don't get it myself. It's absolutely crazy, and everyone should look it up and just yeah, how you got through that, again, more power to you because there's no way in hell that I would have done that myself. But that is just
It's over now.
well, who knows? Knock on wood. Who knows? I hope to God that it is too as well. But who knows the way things are going, what it's going to end up like. But again, Kristyn, it's great to have you on and share your journey with us and talk to you. And I mean, I look forward to having you on again. I mean, it's always a delight to talk to you and catch up. And I mean, everyone, this is a trial. It was a trial for us because it took us like a half an hour to get this going. First of all, it's not even the worst that it's ever happened to me, but it just it's always great to have you on and talk. And I mean, I'll be following your progress, obviously, from Pittsburgh and New York to see how you do. And I honestly hope you do really great. And I honestly think you will. And again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting up with the phone troubles.
No worries. No worries at all. It's totally fine. Believe, like I said, I have had much, much worse, and it's not even close. I had one guest where it was like an hour and a half, and then we didn't even get anything done, and then I had to wait like a whole week to have him back on. So, oh yeah, it's not. I mean, the struggles that I've had on this podcast, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. So, like anything that's happened to me is really already happened. But again, you guys, everyone, go and give her a follow on her Instagram page. Leave a link down below for that, and everyone go and check her out. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she just looks absolutely insane. It's not even funny. But again, you guys, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone. Look at that. Jeez.